those were the easy questions. Now I'm going to ask you very tough questions that I will tell you a lot of lenders don't know. And that's what I consider these tough questions. So the benefit of having or using a VA loan is that I don't have to pay down payment. However, what about if I am buying a house that is what's considered a jumbo loan? Then what is the down payment, or how does that affect my VA loan with the down payment piece?
Another great question. Okay, so typically anything above 484, 350, guys, in this area, and we're talking about the Dallas-Fort Worth or Texas markets, let's say, is going to be considered a jumbo. So let's say you're buying a $600,000 home. Okay, on a $600,000 home, you would typically, if it's jumbo, you typically have a 20% down payment. So that's $120,000 on a $600,000 house. But if you're a veteran and you want to buy that $600,000 home, what happens is you don't have to put the $120,000 down.
Sorry.
You'll take the difference between the $600,000 and the $484,000, $350,000 because that's the maximum number. Okay, you'll take the difference of that, and then you'll multiply that times 25%. Okay?
I see.
That delta times 25% becomes your actual down payment. Now I'm going off quick math, so that could be like $29,000 or $30,000 or whatever, right? That you would have as your down payment. That's a big savings. I mean, if you weren't a veteran, a VA borrower, then you would have $120,000. If you're only putting that $30,000 down, you've really saved $90,000 in down payment amount. So it's very advantageous. So it's very advantageous to do a VA loan on jumbo.
Exactly. So even though you still have to pay a little bit of down payment, it's way much less money than what you would pay with a conventional.
Absolutely. Plus, there's obviously additional benefits that come into play using VA that
eliminate the PMI.
Well, you definitely get to eliminate the mortgage insurance. If you are a disabled vet, then you don't have to have the funding fee. So there's going to be additional benefits that we layer into helping our veteran decide, is it better to go on a normal jumbo loan or is it better to go with a VA jumbo loan? So we'll analyze the two and then provide that analysis to the veteran so that they understand the differences and make sure that we get them the lowest total cost of ownership.
So I want to stick with the subject of the down payment.
Okay.
So if I'm doing a jumbo loan and you tell me what the down payment is, can the veteran roll the down payment into the mortgage loan, or this is something that he will have to provide during the closing?
He'll have to. I mean, it's a down payment, so they'll have to put that down payment, that actual down payment down.
So another question, going back to the same subject, eligibility for purchasing a home. I went there, a veteran will go and buy a house 5 years from today, bought a house, now he uses VA eligibility or certificate eligibility for a $200,000 house. Can I use my certificate again for another house?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. So let's say you bought that house and you used your eligibility to buy that $200,000 home, okay? And then you sold it, and then you want to come back and buy another one. You potentially will have the full eligibility restored, which was up to that $144,000, fully restored, or the up to $121,000 of eligibility because you're buying a $484,000 home. The difference though is, let's say you bought a $150,000 house, right? And you used your eligibility, and now you still have that home, and you want to buy another
one, exactly.
Right. Can you use your eligibility on two homes? The answer is yes. Okay, yes you can. However, we just have to determine how much eligibility you have left, because on that $150,000 home, we still have to do the calculation, right? So that could be like $37,000 of eligibility that you used, okay? Well, now you want to go buy a $484,000 home. Well, your eligibility max is that 121, but you've already used 37,500. So we have to take the difference there to determine, do you have to put down a down payment?
I see what you're saying.
Okay, so there's a bit of a calculation that we go through, and we would work with you on that. But even at that $150,000 home, and you wanted to buy the max of $484,350, basically the numbers will work out where your down payment would need to be $37,500.
Exactly.
Right?
Okay,
Because
so
you have that you've used up a portion of that. But if you're buying a $300,000 home, right? You buy the $300,000 home, you multiply that times 25%, that's $75K that you would use of eligibility, and you've only used $37,000 of the original eligibility from your first purchase of $150,000. When you add those two up, it's still less than your total potential eligibility of $121,000, right? So then you don't have a down payment. So you can still do this without putting any money down. We just need to run the numbers.
okay, Bob. So those were the easy questions.
Oh gosh,
No,
I'm calculating stuff in my head, man. Brandon, you're gonna have to go back and make sure all these numbers are right.
Those were the easy questions. Now I'm going to ask you very tough questions that I will tell you a lot of lenders don't know, and
Okay.
that's what I consider these tough questions. I'm going to talk about 100% disabled veterans. The VA, the Veterans of Veteran Administration, will decide based on the physical if a veteran it received 100% disability or not.
Correct. Yep.
There's a big difference between 100% disabled and disabled. They are 90%, 80%, all their percentage.
Absolutely.
So I want to specifically ask you questions about 100% disabled.
Okay.
When you are 100% disabled, in the state of Texas, I know that they are exempt by law to pay property tax.
Correct.
So my question to you is, as a lender, can you already eliminate the collection of property taxes from a mortgage loan prior to closing for a 100% disabled vet that provides the documentation that shows he is disabled?
There's the key. Provides the documentation that shows that they're 100% disabled. The answer is yes, we can.
Fantastic.
Yes.
Because a lot of lenders will tell you, no, you can't do it. You have to do it after the fact, which is not true.
Correct.
It can be done, but I wanted to ask the expert because a lot of people don't know. So I appreciate that answer.
Yes, sir.
So now, here's the other magical question.
Okay.
And again, the subject continued to be for 100% disabled veterans.
Okay.
Is the 100% disabled veteran required to pay the VA funding fee?
No, they are not. They would be considered exempt from paying the VA funding fee, which would either be, if it's their first time usage and they're putting no money down, it's 2.15%. If they are a second and subsequent user of their VA eligibility and they're putting no money down, it's 3.3%. So there's a substantial amount of savings that's granted to that 100% disabled veteran.
Exactly. So, I mean, I would say our citizens here in Texas,
Yes.
that actually are serving in the military and they become 100% disabled has done great benefits in the state of Texas, especially on the lending side, because they eliminate the property taxes and, of course, the VA funding fee is waived.
They have no funding fee. They eliminate, like you said, the property taxes. There's no monthly mortgage insurance. VA's interest rates are considerably lower than what we can get out there even on the conventional market. There is a lot of benefit, not only just in those things we talk about, but even that interest rate that helps drive down the monthly mortgage payment for our veterans.
Well, I have to ask you the last question on this subject with
Okay.
VA veterans. I told you I'm a veteran myself. I
Yes, sir.
served
Thank
in the
you for your
military.
service.
Thank you, Bob. Served in the military for 28 years. I had the pleasure to represent my country with 5 combat deployments.
Mm-hmm.
So are there any other benefits that I should be aware that has to do with the VA for veterans that are not 100%? And there's any other veterans when they use the VA loan?
Well, yeah. So let's say that just a veteran wants to be able to purchase a home, and obviously we've talked about all these other types of benefits that they get right today. But let's say they're when you buy a house, you have no down payment with VA, but you still have closing costs. Okay, these closing costs can add up to $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 still, right? But let's say the veteran doesn't have that money, or they have it, it's just going to take up a considerable amount of cash that they have available to them. So there are programs that we combine with a VA loan we call them down payment assistance programs or grants, but they don't really cover the down payment because there is none. So we apply them to the VA loan in closing cost credits,
Okay.
which then eliminates our veteran from coming out of pocket with any money. So we have veterans when we combine it with these type of grant programs, coming out of pocket with absolutely no money and sometimes getting their earnest money back to buy the house. They basically got paid to buy the home.
Exactly.
Right? So they're phenomenal programs that we can combine with a VA borrower.
So I guess I'm going to summarize this question by saying, if there is a veteran out there that wants to purchase a home and wants to make sure that he's getting a great deal, then they have to call me as a realtor.
Yes.
And they have to call you as the lender, because you know exactly how to do the VA loan the right way.
Absolutely. I'd start with Elwin. He's going to get you acclimated to what the market's looking like, what the areas are that you're wanting to, and he's going to get you right over to me. And guys, it's really simple. We'll have a 10 to 15 minute conversation so I can better understand where you are, what your eligibility looks like, what your DD-214 is going to tell us. And from there, I can guide you all the way through the VA home buying process so that we can make it a great experience. We can maximize the amount of eligibility that you have and minimize your interest, mortgage insurance that you're paying, as well as your out-of-pocket expense. So look forward to hearing from you.
So, Bob, I would say thank you very much for having me here today. I mean, those are very important questions. I mean, especially dear to my heart, because I'm a veteran myself, and I try to help as many veterans as possible.
Yep.
So I appreciate you taking the time to meet with me today.
Appreciate it. Yeah,
thank you very much.